right, we are live. I'm going to wait until a couple more people get on before I start getting into the meat and potatoes of this live. Also, I think I might not do a live version of my Produce 101 talk because I honestly don't have much to say about produce. In fact, I might just do that right now because there just wasn't a lot to talk about with the last episode of Produce. The last episode of Produce basically was about group formation. So we had the elimination the week prior, and now we had groups that had already been formed prior to the elimination lose members and then having to be rearranged. Also, they brought back the ex trainee, and the ex trainee is one of the Woolam trainees. So that's a thing. But outside of that, we didn't get to hear the full songs that the groups are doing. We only got to see two groups in the studio and no performances. So there truly isn't that much to talk about. I will say going into the studio with Zico was interesting. It's just nice to see Zico again. I feel like it's been forever since I've seen him, and Korea's kind of mad at him right now because of all the stuff with the golden phone with JJY. So it was nice just to see him in general because he's been keeping a really low profile lately. Also, it was nice to get into the studio with the other group that had the member that has something wrong with his vocal cords, just because that's a real concern that you don't really see very often when it comes to these reality shows. You have people that get injuries, they sprain an ankle, twist their knee, cysts, for some reason cysts are going around like crazy in the freaking 101 house. But to have somebody have something even more severe than vocal nodules happen while they're on the show, I'm very interested to watch next week to see what happens with this trainee, because that could be career ending. That could be career ending, and it's very serious. And I'd like to know how it gets addressed. Are the producers going to ask him to leave? Is he going to choose to leave of his own volition? Is he going to try to power through? Is he going to be even included on the song? Is he going to be a part of the performance? Like, we don't know. And so that is one of the main things I'm looking for. Also, justice for Tuzi, because his group lost a bunch of members. They had to add new members, and Yuvin, who he's been on 3 performances with so far, got added to his group and took his main vocalist spot. And I'm just sick of it. Hey, K-Hope. I'm just sick of Tuzi not getting his main vocalist shine when he deserves it. Hello, Youngie. It's not fair. It's not fair because Tuzi works so incredibly hard, and he's got a great voice. He's got a perfect idol voice, to be honest with you. Like, his voice may not be good for ballads, but for being an idol singer, his voice is perfect. And I just think that he's not getting a fair shot because he never gets chosen to be the main vocalist. And his own teammates kind of backstabbed him a little bit. So that's the extent of my produce talk. Thank you for joining me. That was 3.5 minutes. Okay, now into game talk. And I think you guys know what game I'm going to talk about. I want to talk about BTS World. I downloaded BTS World the day it came out, like most people did, because I was interested to see what this game was about. It had been hyped up for so long. The Twitter account had been talking about it for so long. All the OST songs were coming out. I really was excited about figuring out what this game was, how this gameplay was going to go, and, you know, whether or not it'd be something that I would be into in the long term. And I was going to wait until I had played the game a full week to talk about it, because I feel like it's not fair to review a game if you haven't tried out as many features as possible with the game. And so that's why I wanted to wait a full week, because you get login presents every day. So every day that you log in, you get a login present. At the end of the week, you get a big present. So that's why I was going to wait a little while longer. But I think I've been through pretty much everything I can access at this point, and I feel very ready to talk about this game and how I feel about it. So whoever's watching, let me know if you have downloaded the BTS World game, and if you've downloaded any other BTS related apps. If you could just leave me a comment and let me know, because I'd like to know if maybe this is something that anybody watching can actually relate to. If you haven't downloaded the game, this conversation might not be one that you want to join in. But yeah, I have played other BTS games before. Okay, so good. Janini is playing BTS World. Okay, downloaded and installed so fast. All right, Narimi has downloaded it too. So I have played BTS Superstar, which is the rhythm game where you try to go against the beat and everything else. Okay, Fake Aura plays Superstar BTS. I've also played the BTS Puzzle Star game. It's the one. Well, it's the BT21 Puzzle Star game. It's a line game, and it's got the BT21 characters, and basically it's puzzle slash Tetrisy type of game. I've played that before. So I've played a couple of different BTS games. There's also a BTS game that isn't really a BTS game. It's like a fan game. It takes place on like a planet, and BTS are either mercenaries or special soldiers, and they recruit you to be a special soldier with them. And it's this really beautiful fan art that's done for this game. I cannot remember what the name of the game is called because it's illegal. Like, the game is not sanctioned by Big Hit, so they're very cautious about how they use instrumentals. Yeah, it got copyrighted, so that's the reason why I can't really name it. But it's like, it was like From Here to Eternity or something like that. Anyway, those who know. So I've played a number of BTS games, and when it comes to how I feel about games, the game that I was just telling you about, that was like the fan fiction game, that game was okay. It gave you a lot of choices. It was very much a choose your own adventure style of game. You could choose which member of BTS you kind of followed the most. You could try to make friends with other members. You could go on missions, all kinds of stuff like that. That was really cool. The BTS Puzzle Star game is just like any other puzzle game. You know, you just try to beat the levels until the levels get too hard. You get little gifts and things to help you along the way, and there's little mini puzzles. With the Superstar BTS, it is a rhythm game. If Superstar SM, Superstar JYP, even YG has a game similar. If you've played any of those games, it's the exact same thing, just, hitting the circles in time, holding down the circles in time. Nothing life changing, but I will say I enjoy Superstar BTS because you have access to almost every song they've released that wasn't an OST or a special project. And so, if you like a song, you can play it multiple times. Depending on how popular the song is, most of the gameplay is for the first verse, but if the song is really popular, they'll download the second verse. I'm sorry, I'm scratching my nose so much. My nose itches because I was messing with paper earlier today. So, the game is fun. It's engaging because of the music. BTS World. BTS World is a bad game, y'all. It's a bad game. And it's a bad game because it's not really a game. It's kind of it's almost like a sing-along. And I'll tell you why I think it's almost like a sing-along. The options aren't really that many. Like, in terms of decisions you can either make a decision that hurts somebody's feelings or a decision that makes it seem like you're a kiss ass. Like, those are the only two decisions you can really make. You have one of two options at all times. You don't get one of three options, one of two options. There's two different storylines that are going on. Both of them involve you being a stalker. The music is great. I enjoy the music. I'm glad that you get to use, the copyrighted music in it. That's really lovely. The incentive program for this game is a straight up cash grab. This game is a way for BTS to make money off of their fans. Point blank, period. The first day I played the game, I was able to get to probably the first part of level 2 of the main gameplay. So let me tell you how the game goes, because I haven't even given you the basics. So I'm going to give the basics for those who don't plan on downloading the game. You download the game. In the game, you're on your way to a BTS concert, but as you're on your way to the concert, you notice that all of the members of BTS are gone from your ticket. And all of a sudden, you're transported back to 2012, and you have to reform BTS as a group, and you have to become their manager and help them to become the superstars they are today. And the first chapter is literally just you finding all the members. Not a big deal, even though it is a bit stalkerish. Then, once you find the members, it's about helping foster team cohesiveness, getting them to trust you as a manager, proving that you could be a good manager, and so on. Now, between every story level where you have options of, do I want to compliment or do I want to scold, things like that, you have these card levels. And the card levels are, you have different member cards, and each card has different strengths. And if a level needs you to have a certain amount of strength in order to pass, you have to have cards that are high enough. And you can't get cards that are high value cards without paying for them. You have the option, of one card draw for high level cards per day. And for most of the gameplay, you need multiple high level cards with multiple strengths in order to be able to pass. And if you don't pass that particular card level, you can't get to the next story level. Because of this, there's probably a lot of people that are stuck in level 2 if they haven't spent any money. So that's one detraction, is that you can't progress without spending money. They make it very difficult for you to progress without spending money. I'm so sorry. I hate that I'm rubbing my nose so much. This is embarrassing. So they've got that going on. Then they've got the problem with the cards. Again, you have to pay for the cards. High level cards allow you to do bonus social media actions. The social media shit I don't like that either. So BTS, of course, is big on social media. So I think it's smart that the developers of the game added a social media component where you interact with them as their manager on social media, because, that is part of the way that BTS really grew their following, is through Twitter. Even though this feels more like Instagram, the social media that they use on the game. Well, it's so weird. Like, Jimin will write, "Am I a fairy or an angel?" And if you call him a fairy, he's like, "You're wrong, I'm an angel." It's weird, random stuff like this. It doesn't really do anything to push the narrative along for the story. It's just these kind of like side remarks. So it doesn't really add any value to the main gameplay. And all it does is it builds what they call affinity between you and the members. And the affinity are basically like heart points. So basically it's you making the members love you. But some of the options are truly cringy. Like, sometimes the option will be like, "I miss being at the dorm." And one of the options will be, "Do you miss being at the dorm or do you miss me?" I'm sorry. I am going to be 40 years old really, really soon. I'm not going to ask a 16-year-old, because Jungkook is 16 in the gameplay. I'm not going to ask a 16-year-old if they miss me, especially if I'm supposed to be playing a grown-up in the story, So that kind of stuff is really, there are a lot of times when you're trying to like get the members to admit that they like you, or that they're not necessarily in love with you, but like, "Are you happy to see me? Do you want me to come over? What can I do for you? You're so special. You're gonna make it, buddy." Like, it's really weird. So, like I said, the social media thing is crazy. You get phone calls with BTS, which is really cool. They had BTS voice record their end of the phone call, so that's kind of cool. But the phone calls, again, are like, you either are insulting a member of BTS or you're halfway flirting with them. And I saw somebody in the ratings for the BTS World game on Google Plus. This is that game. Just in case you're wondering, this is that game, Alondra. I saw a rating where somebody said this game is not made for male fans of BTS who are straight. Because, and I agree, if you're a straight man, or maybe you're a lesbian woman, and you don't love BTS in a non-platonic way, this game comes across as extremely creepy and manipulative and just not cool. But once you get past the level that you can get at for free, I did actually spend some money so I could give this review and go a little bit further. Once you get past level 2, things start to get even weirder. So, if anyone knows Mystic Messenger, it feels like that with real people who you have a job relationship with. I don't know Mystic Messenger, but I'm interested to hear more. Getting past level 2 and into level 3, Jimin has a storyline where he has an eating disorder. Real talk. So they're getting ready to debut, and me as the manager, I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. J-Hope asked what they can do to have memorable choreography for their debut. They had two options on the screen. They had one option that said, I'm sure you'll come up with something awesome. And another option was like, you should do something bold. I picked the option, you should do something bold. When I picked the option, you should do something bold, it said that I whisper in J-Hope's ear something. J-Hope tells the group that one of them should flash their abs. What? Like, I would never. Like, I'm saying it right now, I would never. I think it's highly inappropriate for a manager to suggest that a group of teenagers flash abs. I would never. That becomes the option. And if you know anything about BTS, then you know that their first debut choreography, Jimin flashes his abs. So the group decides that only one person needs to flash their abs instead of all of them flashing their abs, and it should be Jimin because he has a good body. So then Jimin starts working out overtime, only drinks diet shakes because he wants to make sure his body is good enough for him to be able to flash his abs. And you have to convince him to eat food because he won't eat and he passes out trying to work out in order to be able to flash his abs. And I can understand somebody saying, well, this is something that idols really deal with, so this is a part of being a manager. I get that. But I feel like with you having several teen viewers, teen participants on this game, it's not a good idea to suggest that the way that their favorites get in shape is by going on crash diets and overworking out. And that is the part that I think is irresponsible on the part of the game developers. It's one thing if you say Jimin is working out a lot. I could totally get that. It's like, I gotta stay up late at night, I gotta work out real hard to get my body. But if you're talking about I'm also doing diet shakes and I'm passing out, even if you're trying to say, well, the moral of the story is don't work yourself to death, eat a healthy, balanced meal, there's a different way to do that than to have somebody work themselves into exhaustion, Also because even once you convince him to eat, he's like, well, how many calories is in this? And Taehyung, who's the person who makes the lunch that Jimin eats, has to give him the calories for every single thing in the meal. Like, it's just, it rang very inappropriate to me, and as the mother of a teenager, I don't necessarily think that's what I'd want her to see myself. Then there was Jungkook, who was having anxiety about being able to sing. And this is a nitpick, honestly, but I just want to put this out there. They're getting ready to record their debut song in order to be able to be a group. And Jungkook is trying to sing, but he loses his voice. And the doctor's like, there's nothing wrong with his vocal cords. He's stressed out. And so that's why he can't sing. So we're supposed to counsel him to let him know, you're good enough. You shouldn't stress. We like you. You have the talent. You'll be okay. So they throw this like barbecue get together or whatever for him to come outside so that they can tell him, oh, you're the best guy. We trust you. You're our main vocalist, yada, yada. Go ahead and sing the song for us. Jungkook starts singing Whaley 52, which came out way, way, way after they debuted. Like, the beat for that song probably didn't even exist until years later. So why is that the song that they decide to use in that clip? Like, it's just, the timeline is all out of whack. The storylines are weird. It's just strange. But this is just the main storyline that I'm talking about here. I haven't even begun to talk about the another storyline, which is even creepier. The another storyline is batshit crazy. So once you've done as many levels as you can in the main storyline, they have something called another story. And another story is where you have different stories that only involve an individual member. So maybe it's a story all about Namjoon, or a story all about J-Hope, or a story all about Jin. and I've played most of them. I think the only one I haven't played yet is Taehyung. Um, but basically, you go back into an alternative storyline where you're again trying to find members of BTS. You know their names, you know them as the stars that they ended up being, and you end up in their individual hometowns chasing them down, trying to get to know them. You end up moving into Jimin's grandma's house. You stalk Yoongi off of the city bus and into his music school and talk to his friends to try to corner him. Namjoon, you end up like threatening a little girl about getting her cat out of the alley because it's annoying RM. Like the storylines. Oh, Sukjin, you end up pretending to be a pastry chef so you can work at the hotel that he's an intern at after you were already a guest at the hotel that his family owns. Like it is so stalkerish and weird, and you end up calling them by their names even though you don't know them, and you have to make up all of these lies as to why you know their name, and you have to come up with different excuses for you guys to become close friends. I I don't know who this game is for. I don't know who this game is for, but it is the weirdest thing I have ever heard of. And I don't understand how this got past a big hit. I don't know. And for one major reason, this is Sasang behavior. Like that's the big exclamation point red flag here. If someone goes to an idol's hometown, to their family, yells out their name, follows them from place to place, this is Sasang behavior. This is not normal behavior. This is not what a real fan does. This is not what a friend does. It is so the Jin storyline, when you go to the hotel and pretend to be a pastry chef and they decide that you need to have an audition to be a pastry chef, you make strawberry pancakes. And you tell them, I made strawberry pancakes because Jin likes strawberries. You don't know Jin. He doesn't know you. But you made strawberry pancakes because you know you like strawberries. Like, that shit is crazy. That shit is crazy. And I want to make it very clear. I am not critiquing this game as a critique to BTS the artist. That is not what this conversation is. Because I know for a fact, BTS, their involvement probably was them reading lines for recording, them posing for pictures, and them recording the OST. I highly doubt that they had anything to do with the actual legitimate development of this game. And because of that, I don't hold any of this against them. I hold all of this against Big Hit and Netmarble and Take One, because Netmarble and Take One are the app developers. Why didn't they run this past a third party? Why didn't they have like a test group of people who aren't BTS fans and have them play this game to see if this game is interesting? Why didn't they have men play this game? Why was it just women, it seems, that they had? Why is the perspective that of a woman or a gay man? Why isn't the perspective that of just any regular citizen? Because regular people are fans of BTS. Like just regular older gentlemen who like the music and like the dancing are fans. It doesn't come to a gender or an age group that's a fan or a sexual preference of who's a fan. So why can't this game be marketed to the general public? Especially with as much money as they put into the promotion of this. The fact that they released a whole freaking OST for this, they know that there's a lot of people that they're going to attract into this game. So why not make it the most user-friendly version for everybody? I don't understand it, and honestly, I feel like it's a ding to the reputation of Big Hit. I'm not going to say it's a ding to the reputation of BTS because I don't think this is their fault, and I really sincerely hope that they're making a ton of money off of this, because that's the only justification for putting their name on something this tragic. Like, I would never, like, and I thought to myself, like, how would I feel about this game if it was any other person? like if any other person act, if this was the Selena Gomez game or the Ariana Grande game or the EXO game or the Twice game, how would I feel about this? And I'm like, this would be inappropriate no matter who it is. Not only that, but like it would be even more inappropriate in my opinion if this was the Twice game. So let's imagine everything that I described, a manager trying to get the members to admit how much they love the manager basically stalking them to their hometown, knowing information about them without these people knowing who the manager is. Now imagine these were teenage girls and the manager was an Uncle fan. Now if you put it in that context, doesn't this seem wildly inappropriate? Doesn't this seem like something that was a terrible idea? And for that reason, I give this game like a 1 out of 5 stars. 1 out of 5 stars. You know, because I agree with Narime. I understand, K-Hope, you saying that most fans of boy bands are women. I get that. But this is the thing. BTS is a group that all of Korea is proud of. It's not just women, it's not just men. All of Korea is proud of BTS for the most part. Like, I don't know if any of you watch DKDK TV, but the two guys from DKDK TV, I think they're both straight men. They might be bisexual, I don't know. But they're big fans of BTS. And they report about, you know, how the public feels about BTS. Grandmas love BTS, grandpas love BTS, students love BTS, adults love BTS. Like, a lot of people really love BTS. And because of that, you have a lot of these people who might be like, oh, a BTS game? I'll check it out. So the assumption that it's going to be mostly straight women or gay men who like this game, I think that's short-sighted. I think that's short-sighted when you have a group that so many demographics really enjoy. If this was another group, like if this was ATEEZ, I'd probably be like, okay, that makes sense. But again, this is a group that hits a lot of different demographics, and for that reason, I think that they definitely should have tried to gear it more towards the general public. Or if you're not going to gear it towards the general public, if you are going to keep it women, let's just say this is a game for women. Let's just work on that premise. I'd be very careful about the creepiness of, I know your name, I know where you are, I know your favorites, I'm doing all these things to cater to you. I'd be very weirded out about that. I'd be very weirded out about our character being an adult in the game, but us flirting with a 16-year-old. I'd be very careful about the eating disorder stuff. I wouldn't have as much of that. These are all things that, as a woman-based game, I wouldn't want included. I wouldn't want the eating disorder stuff in there. I wouldn't want the flirting with an underage person in there. I wouldn't want the weird, creepy, sasaeng aspect in there. These aren't good messages. This isn't good behavior. And I don't think that it's appropriate for people in recreation, because I think it develops a very harmful fantasy. I think it would have been a lot better if, you know, being BTS's manager was, you know, scheduling things. You know, there is a part called agency where you have to schedule BTS for different events, and you have to make sure that their health is good in order for them to be able to participate in different scheduled events or scheduled practices, discussions, vocal practice, stuff like that. That part of the game I really, really like. And I think that the game would have been more effective if it had been a scheduling game where you have to go through different puzzles and levels in order to be able to gain resources in order to make the best schedule and take the best care of BTS. If that was the management aspect of this game, I think that'd be brilliant. If it was one of those games like, let's say it was a puzzle game, and as you solve puzzles, you gain points, and you can use those points to be able to fulfill different scheduling requirements. So that is the stuff that I would have really enjoyed. And to speak on what Janani says about this game being very bad for fans that are already on the cusp of being obsessed with BTS, I find it very ironic that BTS would do a song like Pied Piper that basically says, don't become obsessed with us, keep focusing on like your school and your friends and your activities. Let us just be a part of it because we can take you away from your progress in life. For that to be a message in their music, but then this game is all about being obsessed with knowing everything about the group and focusing on getting them to love you as much as you love them. Like, I find that to be really, really weird. And I haven't noticed as many people having negative reviews about it on Google Play Store as I think there should be. It's mostly positive, but I wonder how many of those reviews were made before the game was even released, or how many of those reviews were made instantly because people had heard the soundtrack. But once you play the game, pace-wise, the game is slow-paced. Again, like I said, you kind of have to pay in order to have any progress in the game, and the game just has really bad, weird messages, and that's how I feel about it. And you can download this video if you want to. If you want to downvote this video, that's fine by me. But again, this is not anything hateful directed towards the artist. This is everything directed towards the game developers and BTS's management company choosing to take this particular project on for them. That's my thoughts. I would like to see this game completely re-engineered, like from top to bottom, front to back. I would love to see this game totally tore up, and I think that focus should be on the agency part. So that's my thing. Okay, so because Alondra brought it up, we should talk about the fact that Dio is now in the military. Sad day. He did his SM Station song, It's Okay. And I don't know, because almost all of SHINee is in the military right now, the military is not as scary to me as it used to be, because, even with a lot of SHINee being in the military, I get a lot of media from them on Twitter. Like, I got so many pictures of Minho playing soccer recently. It's ridiculous. I've gotten so many pictures of Key in the band. I had a video of him dancing to Ring Ding Dong. Onu has sung so many songs, all the songs, there's a lot of content for it being military enlistment time. So really it's not bad to me, but I understand when you're a fan and you're used to seeing your fave, being involved in entertainment projects, and they're not involved in those projects anymore, are used to them being present on social media and they're not doing that anymore. I understand the withdrawal in that aspect, and also just, you don't want them to have a hard time, because to be honest, the Korean military does have a reputation that is harsh. There's a pretty harsh reputation in terms of the way that they treat each other. So I could see why that would be kind of scary if you have a very sensitive idol who's looking to get into the military. But outside of that, I think it's going to be okay. I think it's going to be okay. And like I said, I have the perspective of somebody whose faves are already in the military to say this, but I think it's going to be all right. I don't think you have anything to worry about. I think you're going to get a lot more Kyungsoo content than you thought you were going to get as he's in his enlistment. I really, really and truly do. So there's that. Also, I guess I should talk about the fact that the former creative director at SM has joined Big Hit as Chief Branding Officer and will be responsible for a new division that will be developing BTS, Big Hit's new girl group. And this is somebody who was the creative director that was behind the creation of SNSD, FX, Red Velvet, and the concept of SHINee called Conceptize, I think is what they called it. Anyway, and people are kind of mixed bag about that. Some people are really excited because they like Red Velvet, they like SNSD, and if Big Hit's gonna do a girl group, this is really exciting news because these are great girl groups. And I know Big Hit said that they weren't going to be doing girl groups, but it's a different division. I don't know how they're justifying that, but it's supposedly it's a different division, and it's not going to be anything related to what's going on with BTS. Basically, they're saying BTS has their own team that does all the BTS stuff, and the team with these girls will be a totally separate entity, and neither of the tweens shall meet. But let's just be real for a minute. The commentary that K-netizens have regarding this particular hire, I really agree with. SM has had some super strange concepts lately. A lot of SM's styling has been very weird. Their title track selection has been kind of weird. There's definitely been some hits, but some big misses over at SM in recent years. And this lady was in charge during a lot of these swings and a miss. And so because of that, a lot of people don't see her going to Big Hit as being positive. And a lot of people have been very vocal about saying, we don't want her in any way involved in anything having to do with marketing or direction of BTS because we like the relatability of BTS. And I have to agree. I don't think that the SM concept works for a group like BTS. A prime example, when BTS did the photo books for Answer, there's some strange concepts in those Answer photo books that I wasn't really too keen on. Other people were like fine with it. I myself was kind of like, yeah, I don't get it. And I don't want that for them. I don't want Jin wearing those hoof shoes anymore. I don't want the weird marionette clothes. I don't want any of that stuff. I like BTS to be relatable. And so because of that, keep them in their designer clothes, keep them with colorful hair, do all those things, but do not make them NCT like or EXO like or just leave them alone. Just leave them alone. So that's how I feel about it. I just want to see them left alone. I want to see them concept-wise staying on their path. I don't want to see any kind of SM-esque influence on what BTS is doing. In terms of this girl group, who knows? But I will say this. Big Hit has not been auditioning girls in recent years because they were like, we're not doing girl groups anymore. Now that they have announced that they are going to start having girls for this subdivision secondary label thing that they're doing, you are about to see a mass exodus of trainees from different companies. You are about to see all of the best trainees from every company leave where they are and head to these auditions. Like that, facts, Jack. Absolute facts. Fucking facts. Because think about it for a minute. Just the name Big Hit next to whatever is gold right now. A group like TXT might have been popular if they were on a Cube. They might have been popular on a JYP. Being on Big Hit, being the first group that they've debuted since BTS debuted, instant success. To the moon. High pre-orders, everything. Because that name means something. Big Hit, the name, means Big Hit is the new YG. Let's just be perfectly honest about this right now. Big Hit is the new YG. It is a name forged in platinum. And when you put that name in front of a project, people are immediately interested. Investors immediately want to sink money into it. Connections are made with the public. There is a lot of trust behind that name. Like, the reputation that BTS has right now is sterling. There is no group with a higher reputation in Korea than BTS, than maybe EXO. Like, EXO and BTS neck and neck in terms of high reputational scores. But because of that, BTS could debut Big Hit could debut anybody right now. And just their first project alone would garner tons of interest because that name is so trusted, especially because YG has become so tarnished because of all the Sungri stuff and all of the YG himself stuff and then the BI stuff. All of these have managed to kind of tarnish the name YG. But Big Hit, on the other hand, solid gold, buddy, platinum. So yeah, as soon as they announce we are recruiting girls for this group, expect all of your non-debuted faves to come running. Like girls who were on Produce, girls who were in Eyes One, girls who were in IOI running. Okay, so K-Help says, I think Bang PD just didn't want his name directly associated with a girl group because he has trust issues. And I agree. You know, with everything that happened with Glam, oh, somebody is calling me. I'm gonna have to cut this live short pretty soon. I'm almost done though. With all the stuff that happened with Glam, I get it that people at Big Hit are leery about having another girl group because all the shit that happened with Glam was just, it was really ugly. It was really ugly, and nobody wants to be involved in a blackmail scheme or anything else. But there's got to be certain security measures put in place. You know, part of the reason why the whole blackmail thing happened with Glam is because Glam wasn't making any money. So I think that they're definitely going to make it to where these girls have no reason at all to ever get involved with anything blackmail wise, because Big Hit is going to take perfect care of them to make sure that this never happens again. And because of that, I'm really excited to see what's going to happen. But I've talked for long enough. Somebody's been calling me, so I need to call them back. But thank you for watching, and we'll have to do this again sometime. Let me know what you think about the BTS World Game, what you think about Big Hit having a new girl group, about them hiring the creative director from SM, about anything that I spoke about, even about the last episode of Produce. Let me know what you think, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.